Hi and welcome back. Just a small aside before we continue. There is something I don't particularly like about most IDEs, and certainly not about PyCharm, and that is the font and the overall theme is not particularly appealing to me. So in order to change that, just go to the preferences and then we can go to colors and font here. The first thing I'm going to do actually is open up appearance and then go over to appearance, and here you can change the theme. So you can choose a dark theme where everything is obviously not black but very dark browns and dark colors, and that's a bit easier on the eyes, and I actually quite like the dark theme. For recording it's not very good, so I'm going to stick with the white theme for the videos, but do know that I do use a dark theme at work, so you can opt for that. Try that out if you want. However, no theme is going to make the default font look good, because that default font looks pretty terrible, and certainly it's not very easy to read, and for you guys when you're looking at the videos, that font is way too small for us to do anything with it. So the first thing we want to do is change that font, and certainly I want to change that font. But you cannot modify any of the default schemes, so you need to save the default scheme as, and I'm going to save it as my name, and then you can change the fonts. So this is not very clear when you're doing things here, but you can do that. And I'm going to change to console as, which is a font I very much like, size 15 and line spacing 1.1. Then when you apply that, you can see that that's slightly more readable now. And then I'm also going to change a couple more things. So if you go into general and you go into weak warning, you see that's the very slight squiggly line under it that notified us of the PEP 8 issues in the last video, but we couldn't really see it. So I'm going to change the effect of the underwaved into being a darker grey, and that way we might be able to tell a bit more easily. Do notice that when we get a PEP 8 warning, the full line is going to be having a squiggly line under it, so it's going to be a bit easier to tell even though it's grey. Okay, so then go into language defaults, and what I'm going to change here is a function declaration. No, I think that's in the Python one. I'm just looking through. You can change any color of anything you want. So if there's something you don't particularly like, then you can change the color of it. But actually, I don't think there's anything I want to change there. But there is something I want to change in the Python one. So the function definition. Notice how our functions are black, just like any other text. And it's not very easy to see that these are functions. Okay, I'm lying there. It's reasonably easy to see that. But I want it to be easier still. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the functions to a bright orange and make them bold so they're a bit better. Like that. And that's slightly easier on the eyes, I think. And I might make it a wee bit darker, just so it's a bit easier on the eyes. Okay, maybe not so dark. Okay, there we go. And then anything else you want to change, you can do. But I think for now, that's going to be that. I may make the bold self. We haven't come across this just yet, but we will very soon. And I am not going to change the keyword, I don't think. You can go into language defaults and change the keywords. But I think that's fine. I think that keyword is reasonably viewable. So we're going to leave it as that. Okay, so now not much has changed, but the font has changed and it's a lot more readable, at least for me. You can choose a different font if you want. And we've changed the color of the functions, so now it's a bit easier to see what is a function or what is not. And now that I'm doing that as well, I'm going to go back into Python, select the class definition, and we're going to change that into something a bit better. Something like a bright pink. It's not very bright, but that'll do. We haven't come across classes yet, but we will. And we want to also be able to differentiate them from other things. And classes are a lot larger than functions, so we want something even easier to differentiate. So that was just a small aside for you guys to change a bit how these things go, the colors and the fonts to make them more personalized for yourselves. and I certainly cannot program with the font that was there before, but with this one it's slightly better. Okay, so don't worry about that too much if you're not too worried about that. If you are worried about that, then do. But I will see you in the next video.